Welcome to Horror Hangout Reacts.
Hello.
I almost went to say a podcast then, but it's not quite a podcast. A mini podcast? I don't know. It's not really that, is it? How's everyone doing?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I think we should call this a bonus-ode because it's it sounds like a bonus episode or a bonus episode.
A boner.
It's cheeky.
Yeah. Something for everyone with that title. There you go, bonus-ode you go.
Bonus-ode. It's a little bit cheeky. It's a little bit blue. So that's something for the dads. All the dads listening. They love a bit of blue.
My dad will love that. He won't listen to this episode, but he'll love it.
If you were to tell him about it, he'd love the concept of what you're putting out there.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Anyway, what are we doing? What are we doing here? This is obviously different. We've not done this before, but we're going to do a live reaction. Luke on recent episode 200 said he was a bit worried about doing reactions because he said his face doesn't do much. If it does that for the duration of the trailer, just like judging it, then I think that's good enough, right?
Yeah, if you're tuning in for the kind of reaction you might see for our cousins across the Atlantic, you're not going to get that here, guys. You're going to get some people quietly and sensibly watching a trailer, and then we might say a few observations about it.
You're going to get 3 Kevin Smiths all crying, blubbering at the trailer.
And then taking a selfie of all the tears real close and posting it to Twitter for the clout. Yeah. You know, that's what we're going to do. What are we doing today? We're watching a trailer for Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. This dropped just yesterday. So we're recording this on the 8th of October. So this dropped yesterday. A bit late because this movie's coming out in November, so just next month. And I was thinking, surely we're overdue a trailer, aren't we? Surely we need one. And then lo and behold, you got the little teaser for the trailer that arrived 24 hours prior, and now we've got a whole trailer. But we're actually going to watch 2 different trailers because there's the standard cut, which was posted all over the Resident Evil official socials, and then we also got random, I think it's like an international cut, but I saw somebody post it. I went and had a look, and it's completely different. It's like completely different tone, seems to show a lot of the narrative.
For a different film. It's completely different, this.
It's for a completely different film. It's for something called Resident Evil Afterlife or Resident Evil The Final Chapter. We shall not talk about that at any point.
Great. Yeah. Should we do this?
We should do it. I'll just quickly do a little something about the film. So, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. It's an upcoming survival horror film written and directed by Johannes Roberts. Adapted from the stories of the first and second games by Capcom. It serves as a reboot of the Resident Evil film series and will be the 7th film overall. Loosely based on the video game series of the same name. Loosely, probably being a key word. So yeah,
we'll see how loose it is.
We'll see how loose it is. So it's coming out on the 24th of November. So a little not long to wait at all.
It says here theatres. Is it getting a cinematic? For some reason, I thought it was going to be a Netflix sort of straight to streaming thing.
I think that's a series, isn't it? There's like a series as well, which I think is going to be Netflix. It is pretty confusing because it's different actors playing the same character, so it's not linked in any way, which is going to be a bit baffling for the normies. But yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Come on.
This is the pre-trailer bit.
Every story has a beginning.
It's very true. Every story does have a beginning.
Discover the origin of evil.
I thought that sign was supposed to say "fuck Umbrella" in the screenshot I've seen.
When we were kids, they're not true now.
We need to expose Umbrella. Watch this.
It's a good jacket.
I'm afraid of what they're gonna do.
Good jacket, some nice old school tech as well. Was that a VHS player? It didn't make a VHS player noise, did it?
People are getting sick.
Lisa Trevor.
Leon looks strange.
Yeah. That's that truck man from the beginning.
Yeah.
Know what's really going on.
I'm assuming that guy's the reporter, that Ben, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
We have to contain.
Why the pop song?
Yeah, well, classic, like minor note pop song.
Yeah.
It feels like that's what trailers do these days, isn't it? Random pop song. It is a weird choice, though. Ashford twins in that bit, if you spotted.
Oh yeah.
This is where they're experimenting on him.
Who is
Close them curtains.
Is that meant to be Barry, the other guy?
The big guy's Wesker. The main guy's Chris. That's Jill. That looks amazing. That is classic. It looks like they've taken the helicopter crash from 2 and put it into 1.
That's Kenneth. His former self, shadowed.
I don't think this music is working. It doesn't need it.
That CGI is a bit shiny on that dog.
Yeah.
Unfinished. What was that? I guess that was
that
Birkin.
Is that a Birkin?
It looks like a Birkin.
So as you can see by my hat placement, I was blown away.
Yeah. Like, what do you guys think?
So you two are the more, I would say you two are the more classical Resident Evil fans. Oh, next video's autoplaying.
Oh, got you with the autoplay.
So yeah, you guys are, I would say, the more classical Resident Evil fans. But as a guy who came to Resident Evil 2 with the remake fairly recently, I think it looks awesome. I think it looks really, really cool. And tonally, it looks way more intriguing to me than the old Resident Evil movies.
I genuinely think we should watch the other trailer as well before we start collating
Okay.
votes.
Say no more. Let's get the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just think it adds so much more.
What are you doing out hitchhiking on a night like this, anyway?
Can I turn those subtitles off?
Used to live here, you said. Raccoon City.
Cool.
Better you than me.
Watch out!
So very much like the intro of the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah. Oh no, Chekhov's dog.
No. Yeah.
Ah, don't let the blood up! Never let the blood up.
Honey, we need to go now. Lock the gates. Claire, why are you back here?
This whole town's been poisoned. If we don't contain this, it could threaten the whole world.
Shall we go?
This music's way better.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, it's got the classic modern trailer noises.
Yeah.
I think the song just takes the horror
Experimenting
away.
on him.
Yeah.
This is my life's work. I'm not giving it
Well, that's Birkin, okay.
Brian Irons. Is he going to be as much of a bastard as he is in the games? In the game.
Vickers, this is Cheap Irons. Pick up your damn radio.
Oh, that's Brad.
Umbrella is gonna destroy this place.
Rocket launcher.
I just really want to get out of this town.
That's how the movie's going to end, right? With a rocket launcher. I don't know how I feel about that creature.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Wow.
So, as you can see from my
Okay.
hat placement, I'm blown away.
Your hat's completely. Oh, it was. I couldn't obviously see you while the trailer was running. Blew your hats right off. It's incredible.
Blew your hats clean off their heads.
So-
Yeah, I think that trailer seems a lot more measured, doesn't it? It seems to show a lot more of the narrative. I kind of understand how these two stories are going to intertwine. The song in the first trailer was a bit too distracting, and it was like a lot of fan service. It was like moment after moment after moment from the games, you know, locations from the games, itchy tasty and blood on the window. It felt like a lot of fan service, which I loved, and I do think it looks awesome. But I think that second trailer is a lot more well put together.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot more cohesive. You know, you're not looking at just throwing a ton of moments and Easter eggs out there. It actually looks like, I think if you were showing it to a normal audience that just don't necessarily have a big affection for the films, it was like, do you want to see this horror film about some zombies in it? I think that would make a lot more sense without lore, because, like, you know, It's like, oh, the Ashford twins. That is a deep cut. There are people who would consider themselves Resident Evil fans, naff all about Code Veronica of all things.
Maybe that's just like something that the director's put in there for himself, or for like the super fans. It might not be something that's relevant to the story as a whole.
It's interesting that it's taken a completely different approach to the old movies. The old movies were like, let's do like inspired by Resident Evil more than like telling it in the movie form. But this seems to be going completely the opposite way.
I think my main concern story-wise, and I'm happy to be wrong about this isn't my prediction of how I'm going to feel about it. It feels a little concerning. It's got an air of Spider-Man 3 about it, where if you're trying to make one film that has the events of the first and second game, so it has the mansion and the city, it's quite dense, right? There's a lot of stuff to happen.
Yeah, I was thinking that in terms of storyline, yes, there's a lot, and you're introduced to a lot of different characters as well. I almost feel like if you prefer one of the games, the first or the second, are you going to be frustrated when it goes to the other game?
Yeah,
and also I feel like a different sort of vibe as well. The first one is straight up haunted house, whereas the second one is it's quite action heavy, but it's just a completely different like zombie.
Well, if we're playing in film world now, Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2 are Alien and Aliens.
Yeah.
Effectively, there is one that's a lot more of a claustrophobic, a horror sense. Yes, it's still a big bombastic game. There's a giant snake and there's a secret underground lab and all that stuff. But the second one is where it leans into more action. You're out in the open and you're doing all those other things as well. And I think tonally you could have done two very different but equally compelling films.
Yeah.
And this is us talking before we've seen it. It might mesh together very, very well.
That mansion shot is amazing though. I feel like I've dreamt about seeing a world on screen where it's completely... I understand the director got some floor plans from Capcom to make the mansion and the police station as well, which is
that's good.
Which is great. I think that's really gonna...
Maybe if that's what you've been dreaming about, Ben, you need to ask yourself a question. Do you love Resident Evil or do you love stately homes?
It might be a bit of both. I like stately homes. Are there any zombies in it though? No. Obviously, we've got the iconic zombie look around moment as well from the first game, which is obviously lovely. The lab coat looks a bit clean. Looks a bit like it's fresh off the rack, fresh off the hanger.
It's been scotch guarded. That's not going to take on those stains. Protected.
Yeah.
Is it not close enough to the game for you?
So I think
the coat's not quite right. Like it's the exact same movement.
Pretty sure he's wearing green in the original.
I think it's green. Yeah, in the original it's green. So I wouldn't want it to be that. But look, I mean, a lot of people are saying it looks a bit naff and the CGI looks crappy and looks a bit cheap. I feel like this is the Resident Evil movie that I want. I'm not gonna care. I don't care if it's Citizen Kane or Goodfellas. I want a movie set in the world that I've played the games in and loved the games in for so long. I want to see all the stuff from the games. I feel like that's gonna be enough for me. And it's gonna be a bit cheesy. It's gonna be possibly a bit tongue in cheek, a bit silly, and I'm all for it because if we've had 7 movies or 6 movies before,
who knows now at this point,
which were so wide of the mark that I can't even begin to discuss how wide of the mark they were. I just want this. This is what I want. This confirmed everything for me. And sure, it doesn't look perfect, but
I think you're right, Ben. I think this is it's certainly what I wanted at the time. It's got a bit of the Paul Anderson magic about it in a way, though, in the sense that I think if we were the right age, you're years on and you're a bit more cynical now. So, and as our audiences, maybe they will think at this point, the comments that you said, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a bit naff in the CGI. I think in very much Resident Evil style and Mortal Kombat as well, for the people who are of that core demographic, if they are of an age now that we were when we were first into Resident Evil, if you're perhaps just not quite old enough to go and see this at your own, if you're 13, 14, you're going to be absolutely losing your mind over it. And I am as well. This is going to be a for whatever comments you can put on what the CGI looks like, I'm going to go and see it. And I think I'm going to have a good time with it. I think for me, the key to success will be if it has fun with it. If it takes itself very dourly and very seriously, then it could lose it. But I think if it's going to be fun, it should be a good laugh.
Yeah, I don't think it will. I think you can tell.
Throw you on there now then. Do you think what are you predicting your rating's going to be?
Oh.
B minus, Luke.
What were you going to say then, Luke? You felt like you had.
Well,
you had a...
well, I was just going to say, it'd be after seeing this trailer, I'm actually quite interested to see them do a Resi 4. Not that interested about Resi 3, to be honest, but I don't know. It'd be nice to see that kind of quality take on Resident Evil 4 in a movie format.
Yeah, that would be good. Predictions for rating. See, it's difficult to say, isn't it? Because I can't imagine it.
Saying it on tape, you'll prove yourself wrong.
I can't imagine it making me as angry as some of the other Resident Evil movies did, where I felt like they'd completely misunderstood the source material. And it seems like even if it seems that there's an understanding for the source material, a respect for the source material, maybe too much of a love for the source material that wouldn't necessarily work on film. Who knows? But I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. So I don't want to give it a rating, but I'm sure I'm going to be.
If you take a PlayStation controller with you to the cinema, just pretend.
Yeah, just pretend. Tank controls. Just. But yeah, I'm quietly confident, I think. And
good.
I'm going to be positive. A minus.
A minus.
I'm just going to be positive. Put it out there.
And
not
let's
say
go
B
for
minus.
an A. I think
I'm going to think that I'll recognize where people say there are flaws in it, but I feel like I'm going to have fun. I'm going to go classic Luke rating of B minus, the Luke Condor special.
A Luke Condor special. Very nice. Yeah, so...
Great.
Very excited. I'm assuming we're going to be doing an episode on it, so...
Yeah, guaranteed.
Join us either at the tail end of November or early December, and we'll be firing an episode out on Resident Evil. I'm not entirely sure about the title. Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. Just a bit of a mouthful.
Just call it Resident Evil, it'll do.
If we're getting movies which are actual sequels and actual reboots just called Halloween, let's just call this Resident Evil.
We can make that decision now. We've got the authority to do that. This film's called Resident Evil.
They'll just call the next one Resident Evil: Welcome to Village. The next one after that, Welcome to
the Jungle.
The Butcher House, whatever you want to call it.
Welcome to
the South.
Welcome to because annoyingly they're probably going to skip Nemesis because it all takes place at the same time.
That's what I was thinking. Because if you're going to pair two movies up together, I would have thought 2 and 3 would have been the pairable ones. But
where was the call, guys? We could have helped you with this. Come on.
Yeah.
Still, we're only a call away if you need us for the sequel. Should you need us, here we are. There we go then.
Right.
That was that. Thanks very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. This has been fun. See you next time.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.